What's going on, family? Welcome back to the channel. Another open window
Yeah.
episode. Yes, sir. We got the boy Pan. I'm saying
You
I'm
know.
Jez, of course, of course, of course. This is gonna be another, I guess, manga anime review. We've been doing a little bit more of these recently, and this one's gonna be about RDC's new manga, Dark Lights. They teased it at DreamCon, as you know. Me, Apollo, some other people in the community went to DreamCon during the summer. They teased it, and then the first chapter came out on their website, RDC Universe. Pretty sure, I think about a month ago, a little bit a while ago, but it's finally now free. So like everybody can be able to read it, give their thoughts on it, and stuff like that. I think only one chapter is out currently. Correct me if I'm wrong. Those of y'all who are subscribed to RDC Universe and get like first glances and stuff like that, maybe you can confirm. But I think this is the only first chapter out right now.
Hmm.
I'm not too sure if it's a weekly or anything like that, but we do have the first chapter. It's free. We might even put the link for it in the description so y'all can go read for yourselves. RDC has been making a lot of anime and like manga content like that for a very, very long time now. They've always teased anime, manga, and things like that. So this is pretty interesting to see like their take, their first, crack at it, making their own manga from scratch. I think it was a pretty, for first chapters, it's going to be pretty decently long. I think it was like 74 pages, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 74 pages. Very chunky, trying to build a lot of them, the main core cast, the initial premise, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, well, I guess like, well, what was your couple of first thoughts after finishing it?
Yeah. So I went into this completely blind. You already knew about, all this
Yeah,
happening in the background. I didn't. I mean, I kind of, heard from you all that, yeah, they are planning, like our community, right? Like they are planning to do or to make a manga comic. I mean, I guess this is more of a comic. You read from left to right. So I'm always
yeah,
confused when it comes to this. Like the art style is manga-like. So I start reading from right to left. I'm like, no, this doesn't make any sense. But I went into this blind, and I mean, I like it. Like overall, I would say I do have some stuff to say about it. You too, probably. But overall, I would say this is a good first chapter, or yeah, it does what it sets out to do, I believe. And I looked at reactions online from people like we know, like Paz, he already made a reaction, I believe, and I looked at other people reacting to it. And I mean, overall, I believe people do enjoy it. People do like it. And I mean, if you haven't read it yet, I always do this. We always do this. The spoiler stuff. We will begin with some general stuff before we really get into criticism. So if you're interested in superhero stuff, like with abilities and fights, right? And
yeah.
maybe you're just a fan of RDC World. If you are, check out this comic Dark Lights. Come back to this video or not. If you are interested in like our opinion or just a discussion in general, most people seem to enjoy it, so maybe you will too, right? Go check it out. But to really get into it, my opinion on it, I do want to start, and this is a bit different. I do want to start off with the bad, not necessarily bad, like the negative part first, because usually it's like we start off with the good stuff and then we go to the bad stuff, and it overshadows the good. So I want to start off with some criticism I have, maybe you'd have too, and then we go to the stuff that is really good here, and then it hopefully feels a bit different, okay? And with community projects like this, it always can come off some hater shit. Like I'm not trying to hate RDCworld. I love their videos, watch them every time they drop anything. I read this. This is overall really good, but I do have some stuff to say about it, which I guess is still you can still be okay with it, considering this is their, I believe, first
Yeah,
actual
the first
manga
one.
comic. Yeah, so there's
I'm
a lot
pretty
of
sure.
room to grow. Nobody is perfect at the very beginning. Even One Piece wasn't that good at the very beginning, right? People were still unsure at the beginning if it would flourish into something big, so we'll see about it.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, but generally, to start off with some criticism, not just some light stuff, right? Because there's nothing necessarily bad about this. And this is what Jazz also told me before the recording. The story, that way we can start off, feels rather... Is bland the right word? Is bland
Yeah,
the
I
right
mean,
word?
it's pretty similar to stuff we've kind of before. I compared it to like maybe like the first chapter of Demon Slayer or even on some Kagurabachi type stuff. How the first chapter was.
I mean, the ability stuff did remind me a bit of My Hero, but My Hero does
Yeah.
have a bit of a different feel to it, because there the society, in the beginning at least, is presented as something really nice, really cool. Everybody has abilities and shit. Here, it does seem more realistic, right? More down to earth, right? The abilities so far don't seem to be super
Too
crazy.
wonky.
Yeah, nothing completely game changing, and everybody is able to, so far at least, is able to turn them on, turn them off. Okay, I don't know. I don't know if this comic is ever gonna go into some like discrimination because of people who have and who have abilities and who don't have. You know, I don't know. This is all talk for the future, but overall, it is, you know, more of a shonen type of story. Nothing
Absolutely.
in chapter 1, nothing too crazy, groundbreaking going on. Like the setting isn't, you know, as I said, like you don't need to reinvent the wheel, but nothing really grabbed me, right? Like there wasn't this one thing that I was thinking about, like, yeah, this is something crazy, that's new, I want to read more. It's similar to Kagurabachi, actually. I think Kagurabachi is the best example here. Like you read the first chapter and you're like, okay. I might check out, you know, the other chapters, but as a whole, it doesn't grab you like some, I guess, Naruto or even My Hero. I hate My Hero on this channel a lot, but it does have a great first chapter, I guess.
Yeah, like this kind of this what like you said with Kagurabachi, just in a sense, because this is their first manga putting out.
Yeah.
So of course, and no one's coming here expecting like some crazy like first episode of AOT type thing. It's only the first chapter. It can still grow from here, obviously. Like I mean, like I said, when we say the story is bland, it's not even like necessarily like bland. Maybe like just more just like generic. Like you can see it kind of like becoming a little bit more of like a revenge story. And there's some mystery to it as well, like what happened to his father, that kind of thing. Like I said before, but like how, well, like literally like what happened with Kagurabachi is probably like the best like similarity I can put. Well, Kagurabachi's not bad either, but it's you can kind of like see the wheels, so you can kind of see like the expectations of what's gonna happen. But like I said, this is the first chapter, so they can easily like deviate. They can do a lot more mystery into it and stuff like that. So not necessarily a bad thing, but it's like off of first impression. Yeah, that's what kind of comes off us as. I think it is pretty interesting with the powers. Of course, it seemed pretty like things we've seen before right now, but at the end, like I said, we still have a lot of chapters to go. It is interesting that they can only use their powers at night, which is because it goes into the whole title of like dark lights. So that tying that into there, maybe we'll see like probably explain like why that is and like why can they only use their powers at night.
That could be good.
I'm just more interested in like how deep the powers will go, like how like intricate it will be, how like creative people will use their powers for. There's just a lot of other shows, not even just like My Hero, but a lot of other places where they use their powers, and like they might have something basic like maybe like fire or electric or like strength, but they use it in a specific way that makes it a little bit more interesting. Like even how like Deku in My Hero can he's able to like make projectiles now and things like that. We'll see how like far they take it, and it's where the powers originate from as well, or maybe we'll just see things like that.
Yeah.
Other critiques though, besides just how I guess the more generic first chapter it is.
But once again, generic doesn't, as you said, necessarily mean bad, right? Like I'm thinking about it right now, even My Hero, Black Clover, kinda even JJK, they are kind of generic at first. They become something very nice after, I mean, okay, I guess it's still debatable, but like something like JJK, it starts off generic. Many people were like at first, this is, I don't know if this is good. Even something like Invincible, if we go away from anime manga, first episode, like everything before the end credits is pretty generic, but then it subverts your expectations, becomes something very good, and so generic doesn't mean bad. Anything can happen. If they know what they are doing, they will turn this into something really cool. But I mean, so far it is what it is.
Absolutely. I had some trouble like just kind of like gauging like how the pacing was, where sometimes like we were kind of skipping, like not even like the initial time skip, but like even just throughout the day, like they would go from like scene to scene or like panel to panel and do like 5 hours later, or this is later. And sometimes I felt like it wasn't really needed, I guess, because like you can see the passage of time. Sometimes it might not be like as apparent, but like majority, and there's some instances where like it made sense. Like for example, like when he was talking to his mom for Vincent, and then his mom goes to work, and then time passes, of course, because they show the moon coming on, things like that. That's like a more natural thing compared to the whole like 5 hours later or like or a little while later. And that's not just even like, and like Pan was saying that a little bit too, like that's not only for this manga. There's a lot of other mangas that do that as well, where they kind of just do like this excessive, like I guess like information.
It's
But I think at the
it's
same
a
time,
central concept, show don't tell. I'm just saying, like, instead of, telling every time that the scene is changing, come up with a way to just show it. As you said, with the moon, we know it's nighttime, time has passed, all good, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty simple, yeah.
it's definitely more. I know some first it might be seen as like a nitpick, but just it's like things that kind of just stand out compared to other things that we've seen and we've consumed when it comes to media and things like that. But besides that, and then I say that's what kind of confuses like the passage of time sometimes. I'm like, so like this happened like after 5 hours, but then this other part happened after like what, 15, maybe 30 minutes. So I think that's like, actually, like if you leave it more up for like interpretation from the reader, I think it's just a little bit easier. If they, I mean, it's one thing I guess if like if they ask for like, oh, we don't know when things happen, but I think people can kind of put together like, if you just can kind of show it more instead of just like telling us. But I can see how that could be seen as like a nitpick, but it's still just some honest criticism.
And overall, this goes, I think, hand in hand with the pacing in a way, the paneling too, because the paneling is the way that, it is, the story is going on. I feel like it is more on the simple side. We usually just, rectangles, squares, nothing too crazy. When new characters appear, there are, I don't know, there's probably a whole lot of theory on it, like how to panel the best way, how to introduce new characters and make them stand out instantly, how to have dynamic paneling. There's probably a lot of theory on it. This manga, this chapter seems more on the simple side, not necessarily bad, but it does make the reading experience, I don't know, not boring, but I don't know, neutral, I guess. But that's like taking that as a transition, because I think that criticism-wise, this is it. The artist, I really have to commend the people who drew this. I think there were like 2 artists or more people. I don't know. Like I remember reading there are 2 people who drew all this, and I have to commend them on this. The detail on this, the character design, it is really good. I feel like there's a lot of variety here. Outfits, facial structure, hairstyles, body types. There's a lot going on here, I feel like. And every character, somehow, just from looking at them, you can tell what type of character they're gonna be. You can, once again argue if this is a bad thing or not, but I feel like this is a good thing, right? Like you see the nerd kind of character, right? His fit, you can tell he's the smart character here. The other one has a tracksuit.
I think it's a polo hat.
Yeah, oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, the other one has a tracksuit. Yeah, you can just tell, right? Like the character design is really good. The details, facial expression also really good. And something that surprised me, manga do usually get kind of lazy when it comes to background characters, right? They just draw some silhouettes and stuff. But with this, background characters have complete faces, right? Like you see their expression, you see everything. It's just that they are gray in the background, but they still are people in the background. Like it's not just silhouettes, which I liked. And obviously the whole special effects in the background when they're like staring at each other, like the stare type of text in the background, or the step, slap. I think it's well done. The art is, I would say, the best part about this chapter, and the action scenes also goes hand in hand. Really well drawn with the speed lines. You can really feel impact here. You can feel them moving. Some like Kagurabachi as another example. When action scenes happen, I sometimes have no idea what is happening because it's just all over the place sometimes. With this one, like punches are thrown, people are jumping, kicking. You can tell what's happening. Like you see him evading, you see him dodging, you see him getting hit, and falling back a bit and shit, like, or punching really fast. Yeah, it is well done, I think. Like this is probably my biggest positive point on here. Like the artists really did their thing with this.
I agree. Another thing as well, as a black man, we don't really see a lot of black representation when it comes to like manga or even like comics in itself too. So like having like all the different hairstyles, like with the flat top, and even with the girl with her dreads, and like even with with the cap on and stuff like that, even with main character Vincent, it's just good it's just kind of refreshing to see that. Especially like when we're usually drawn to anime and things like that, it's just like we're just giving big lips and they just throw an afro on us or some bullshit, and that's literally what it is. So it's just really refreshing to see this. That's why I like at the end of the day, like this is just only the first chapter, and they can definitely delve a lot deeper into everything. Because to me, I was talking to Pam before, and I was like, it kind of gives you a Demon Slayer vibe, where like maybe the story won't be like so like deep, but there's nothing wrong with that, because not everything has to be like an AOT or something like that. Like if the story is the story's consistent and is strong. And like, because the fighting, like I said, I like Payne was saying, I think fighting is definitely the best part. Because like when he hardened and the guy brought out his gorilla strength, and they're boxing actually, and like and they were going toe to toe, and like I feel like I can already imagine that like in an anime or like in a TV show already. So I feel like that definitely is one of the very, very big plus sides. And like you said before, like everyone's giving a lot of detail. I was even telling him, like, I think it was on page either 32 or 34, they were showing like when Vincent was getting pressed by the gang inside the lunchroom, there was like a girl that they showed like in the back that she was kind of like standing in front of the crowd, and it was like more highlighted than the rest of them. And I was feeling like that could be like easily probably be like a love interest or something already like kind of playing a role already. And then they might like,
okay,
yeah, or hinting at something in the past. So it is even just things like that, like the attention to detail stuff is very much there. And the thing is, I know, like, coming from RDC, they consume a lot of anime. So when you consume a lot of something, it probably makes it a little bit easier when it comes to writing and being able to kind of like grasp like what you're trying to like put through your work and things like that. And I think Mark and Af have been like writing and like been doing this whole manga stuff so even before RDC was even like really created. So I know that like they're not gonna just come out here and just put out some some trash. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna come out here and there's just do their thing. Put their best foot forward. And I was like watching a video of them like just today even. And they were saying like Mark already has another manga that's like maybe he's not writing right now, but he does have a manga planned after this one. And his words was saying like that's like he considers that one like number one. Like that's gonna be like his like, so maybe that one might be the more of like a very super duper strong story. Like still it might have action and stuff like that, but maybe this one's more of like, don't expect like a super duper like AOT mind bending story, but expect some some strong story, good boxing, great character design. I guess I won't, like, for lack of a better terms, like I don't, it's like maybe a little bit simple, but it's still gonna be entertaining. It's still gonna be like high rush, high adrenaline type of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with it. But it was a very solid first chapter. I love the creativity. I love the art, like we were saying, and I just love the black representation even more as well. I feel like we've been needing something like this in the medium. Let's see how far they push it.
Yeah. And simple, just as generic, right? Simple isn't bad, right? There's beauty in simplicity, right? We know it goes, okay? And I had to pull up the quote. The chapter alone doesn't necessarily tell us where the story is gonna go, right? Like, but at the very least, we know there's gonna be ample boxing. There's gonna be good fights. Hopefully, very unique fights, right? With all the abilities that can actually. We don't need, like as you said, a deep story. If it's really just good fighting, that like on some records of Ragnarok, right? Like the story is whatever, nobody cares. Everybody's here for the crazy 1v1s, and here you can have group battles too. So they can be very creative. They have interesting superpowers set up. So far it's simple, like ice, electricity, shadow. Okay, that's pretty cool. Or just hardening. But they can really evolve those powers. Like they get stronger. Maybe they can do some more crazier shit after a while. So there's a lot of room to grow, a lot of creativity to be had here. And and when the next chapters drop, I will try to read them as soon as they drop. Hopefully, and see how this goes. Yeah, I guess that's it. So overall conclusion, I would say there is some room for improvement. As with most manga, or every manga, I would say. But thinking about this being their very first chapter, very first like project like this is really good, I would say. Some mangaka have way worse first chapters, right? Like I read, sometimes I go on like manga pages and just read super unknown first chapters of just random manga, and they're always ass, the art is ass. This one's really good. Like everything we said is more like nitpicky kind of stuff because we have read a lot. But as a whole, this is very good, especially as a community project. Takes a lot of time to do. I gotta respect it, especially since our community also works on a comic right now. Yeah, that shit takes time. Right? Like that's not done in like a week or so. Like, you gotta respect it. You gotta respect it. So as a whole, I have good like high expectations for this in terms of fighting, in terms of art. But that's about it. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Open Window, Pen and Jazz. You know the deal. And see you on the next episode of whatever we are gonna do.
Peace.
Peace.